Welcome to another handy lesson. In today's video, we're going to talk about the direct method. The direct method is one of the first methodologies that is not based on behaviorism, on a behaviorist paradigm. The direct method is also known as the natural method, and it is a method of teaching language directly establishing a straight point from the target language to the conceptualization of the vocabulary. So in this way, or this is why it is called the direct method, because there is no translation allowed in this methodology. Like I was saying, it is also known as the natural method. It has other three names: phonetical method, anti-grammatical method, or the reformed method. This methodology actually came to be a response to the behaviorist methodology, such as the grammar translation and the audiolingual method. Since the grammar translation did not produce people who were able to speak the language, and the audiolingual method was declined due to its lack of accuracy in reaching the objectives that it was meant for, the direct method tried to fill in those gaps, having learners exposed to the target language and therefore being able to produce the language. Of course, this methodology is not based on behaviorism, but on a cognitivist learning paradigm. So it was important because it is the first methodology aiming for language acquisition rather than language learning. The direct method states that a second language can be taught without translation. In other words, that people can acquire a second language if they are exposed to the language for enough time, so they can acquire it just like they do with their native language. The principles of this methodology are that classroom instructions are conducted exclusively in the target language. Therefore, the teacher should be able to have students learn vocabulary through mimic, through modeling, through representing the vocabulary with flashcards. Oral communication skills are built up in a carefully graded progression organized around question and answer. There is a very a specific strategy in which the teacher asks questions and the students just answer, and they play role plays. And one thing about grammar is that it is taught inductively. So the teacher silently corrects the grammar of the students just by echoing whenever they make a mistake, just like parents would do with babies when they start speaking. Both the speech and listening comprehensions are taught through different techniques, through different strategies in which students are exposed to the target language from real life situations. Vocabulary is a key point for this methodology. It needs to be taught through different modeling forms. And one of the principles, or one of the characteristics of the direct method, is that realia is introduced through this methodology. Realia means having real objects from real life brought into the classroom so students can feel like they are doing their progress in everyday life. There are some techniques in the direct method, such as question and answer, just like I was saying. Teacher asks questions of any kind of questions, dialogues, pre-established dialogues, and students are going to repeat these dialogues as role plays. The dictation is another technique in which the teacher dictates a passage according to the level of students that he has, and the students just follow, and this develops their listening skills. Reading aloud, having the students read one by one certain passage that the teacher has previously selected, and students may read either one by one or just half of a group, and the teacher will decide how to do that, but it needs to be a loud reading. Map drawing is one of the best techniques to develop listening for specific information. As you know, you give a handout to the students in which they have a drawing, and then as a teacher, you start explaining and describing the scene, and the students need to be drawing, coloring, or just marking and emphasizing whatever you are describing as a teacher. Paragraph writing is basically what we call as compositions. When students reach a specific level, they can start producing writing skill, and they are asked to write a passage in their own words, in which the teacher is going to be focusing specifically on the topic that he is teaching. So the student may be making mistakes from different parts of a grammar and producing the language through, attempts, mistakes. And the teacher should be only assessing that which he has already taught. Now, this is the direct method. It is now time for you to practice. If you have any question, just let me know in class, and see you in next handy lesson.